Live from the rooftop of the Hermann London Real Estate Group in beautiful downtown Maplewood, it's the St. Louis Realtor Podcast with your host, Adam Kruse.
Welcome to the Hermann London Group St. Louis Realtor Podcast, live from the rooftop of beautiful downtown Maplewood, Missouri, and we're excited to get the podcast going. I think this is episode number 21, and we are very excited for today because we have an extremely special guest. We have the president of the St. Louis Association of Realtors, Janet Judd, in the studio. She's been a realtor and a mentor, and she's very involved, and we've got a lot of great questions ready to ask her. The only announcement I want to make is for the realtors listening, the St. Louis Association of Realtors listening, please join us, the St. Louis Association of Realtors, on October 22nd from 4:30 to 6:30 at Schlafly in beautiful downtown Maplewood, Missouri, just a block or so from our office here, for RPAC-toberfest. We're all big supporters of RPAC, and it's a great time for you to come and learn a little bit about it and have a couple drinks and network with your fellow realtors. So I hope to see you there. I hope to meet you there. And let me know that you are listening to the show. And don't forget to check out our blog and our podcast, because we've been posting all of the latest shows on there, and we're looking for more questions from our listeners. So if you have any questions, don't forget to email podcast@hermanlondon.com. And please take a second and like us and share us and all that type of thing on whatever social media outlet you're listening to this on. So I'm going to jump right in now, and we're going to welcome our very special guest. All right, well, welcome. We're very excited because today we have a very special person in the studio with us. We've got Janet Judd, realtor extraordinaire, president also to the St. Louis Association of Realtors. You probably have a lot of other letters and accolades and stuff like that behind your name, right?
I do.
So I'm on the St. Louis Association of Realtors Board of Directors with Janet, and I guess that's how I was able to coerce her to come in here today, because I'm sure you're very busy. But welcome to the studio.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, and so I kind of just wanted to give you a chance to tell us just a little bit about yourself. And, you know, I have questions about how you became president and how you got involved at the St. Louis Association of Realtors and that type of thing. But just tell us a little bit about yourself, if you don't mind.
All righty. Well, I've been in real estate 30 years.
Oh, my gosh.
I started when I was 26.
Okay.
So I don't lie about my age anymore.
Okay.
And I definitely have to dye my hair more often. But I started when I was 26. I used to be a police officer.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I was the first female officer that Clayton ever hired. Back then, they didn't accept federal funds or anything, so they said they didn't hire minorities.
Uh-huh.
And I tried anyway, and I was the first female with 52 guys.
So you were a police officer before you were a realtor?
Before I got to
be a realtor. Or were you like
realtor.
police officer by day, realtor at night?
Well, I got my license. My husband, I met him there at the department.
Okay.
He had a house in Jefferson County. And so he sold his house in Jefferson County, and I was kind of involved in that transaction. We always worked part-time jobs as officers. You always had a gig going on at a bank or a hotel or a construction site.
Oh, like
that
being
kind of
security?
Stuff for part-time work.
Okay.
And Rick, my husband, suggested that I get my real estate license and try that. And I did. And my first year, I did $1 million.
Oh, wow.
And I slept like 4 hours a night.
Uh-huh.
And, of course, I thought I was a big shot.
Right.
And I had like 5 deals in the running when I gave my notice like 2.5 years later.
To the police department?
To the police department. So I was there just short of 5 years.
Did it help having a gun on your hip when you were negotiating deals?
It did. And chokeholds and all that good stuff. It helped.
Oh, this is not the first time you've heard this joke before?
I've heard it. And I locked the windows, can't get out, that kind of stuff. So that's what I did. And I took off and started full time. I had 5 deals in the funnel.
Okay.
And every single deal fell apart.
Oh, my gosh.
Over furnaces, septic, termites, every basic thing.
And you were nervous.
I was nervous.
Were you able to use that nervous energy to fight harder for more business, or did you kind of collapse, or how did you handle it?
I knew I couldn't go back. I mean, the police department didn't want me to leave. I told them I felt like it was the right thing to do.
You didn't want to tail between the legs and head back.
I sure did, and I was meant to succeed. I wasn't going to go back.
Okay.
And have them say, I told you so.
Uh-huh.
And so I just put my head down, kept working, did the basics, knocked on doors.
Wow.
Took the front desk. I had a mentor, and it just went from there.
Wow, okay. Can I ask what company you started with?
I was an Ira Berry girl.
Oh, okay.
Ira Berry, and I was with them, and then they got purchased by Coldwell Banker.
Okay.
And so I was,
years later, right?
Years later, like 6 years later. So I started in 85. So somewhere down the road, Coldwell Banker bought them.
Uh-huh.
So about 1991, I went to Gundaker.
Oh, Coldwell Banker bought Ira Berry.
Bought Ira Berry.
And then Gundaker was a separate company
It was
at the same time.
a separate company with Gordon Gundaker.
Right.
So in 1991, I had my daughter, and I tell everyone I think it was hormones, that I just decided, heck, I'll go ahead and go with Gundaker now. They've been trying to recruit me.
Yeah.
And I went to Gundaker. I was there until 2001.
So recruiting was big back then, too.
It was huge.
Okay.
It was huge. I went to Gundaker, was there maybe 10 years, and then 2001 happened, and that's when Coldwell Banker bought Gundaker.
Okay.
And I said, that's kind of like an ex-husband. I'm not going back.
Right, okay.
And that's when I went to RE/MAX, and I've been with them since.
Okay, beautiful. And then have you always been really involved with the St. Louis Association of Realtors or with, other extracurricular charities or anything like that? Or
Before, and I'm going to say S.L.A.R, St. Louis Association of Realtors, I was very involved in my church, St. John's Lutheran Church. So I worked my way up to committees there, started cleaning the pews and all that stuff, altar guild and all that, helping in the school and just helping. That's what it was all about. And then eventually Dave Fook, who was a past president of S.L.A.R, asked me, I applied. You have to apply to be on a committee.
Right.
That's the first step. And I applied for the grievance committee.
The best committee.
Yes. And it took maybe 4 or 5 years to get on it.
Oh, wow.
And one day he called and said I was on it. And that's where it started. It took off from there.
Okay.
So it took about 15 years from when I started on a committee, and I ended up chairing other committees, education, professional standards, grievance, elections.
Did somebody, you mentioned you had a mentor, did somebody encourage you to get involved, or did you just, why do you get involved? I like to get involved, obviously, too. I'm on the board and all that stuff.
Board of directors.
Actually, thanks to you. A lot of realtors, they don't want to do it. What would I do that for? And I'm trying to encourage them to do it, and what kind of drove you?
For me, it was, I like to hear and learn things firsthand. I like to ask a lot of questions. I'm inquisitive and very direct, and I like to hear it and see it. So being involved at the board, I felt like it was like osmosis. I could just learn things, take it in, and it made me a better realtor. And I made friendships along the way, too. Dear friends, it's not always about that. Some realtors are short-sighted and say, why would I want to hang with realtors? I just want to make money.
Right, they're my enemy.
Exactly. Right. And the pie is big enough for everyone. Everyone has something to give. And that's what I try to encourage people to do.
So I'm interested to ask you questions related to both your position on the board and kind of like realtors and associations in general, but also just I want to get some knowledge from your experience. I didn't know you'd been a realtor for 30 years, but I got a lot to learn from you, So, but as your position on the Association of Realtors, why do you think that someone should be a realtor and not just a real estate agent? Like what's the benefit of being a member of the St. Louis Association of Realtors or S.L.A.R?
That's a great question. Chris Polycron, the president of the National Association, 2014.
Okay.
He was invited to come to S.L.A.R for a summit that we had. And the takeaway that I had from talking with him is he would ask people whether he sat next to them in the airport or wherever he was. And someone will always say, I sold my house, or I did this, or my sister's selling a house. And he would say, are they using a licensee or are they using a realtor? And I thought that was such a great way to ask people about that. Licensees and the public really doesn't know that there's a big difference. A licensee is someone who takes the exam, they get licensed with the state of Missouri, and they can sell homes. They're not a member of our association, of the St. Louis Association of Realtors. Once they join that, they join the Missouri Realtors and the National Association of Realtors. All of us apply, and we all agree to uphold the Code of Ethics.
Right.
And the Code of Ethics is the golden rule for us. And they pay membership fees to the associations so that they have access to the MLS, they have access to our super keys, they have access to the legal hotlines, Our contracts and forms are one of the best in the country.
I love them.
They also have access to the events that we hold, the forums, the output groups, everything that we have. So if someone's just a licensee, I really feel like they're missing the boat. And the public, if they're working with just a licensee, they're not benefiting from being with a true professional, in my eye,
right,
who agrees to uphold the code of ethics that they're going to be held accountable for.
In a non-realtor, a person who has their license, in my opinion, they have to sort of jerry-rig things, right? It's like, let me get a contract from somebody else. Let me have someone else let us get in the property, right? They, like you say, they don't have to follow the code of ethics. They're probably not as educated on real estate deals today, that type of stuff.
Many of the complaints that are filed with the MREC, from, is my understanding, are from licensees.
Okay.
Non-realtors.
Okay.
There's a point of difference.
Jumping back to, you being a realtor and your success as a realtor and stuff like that, I'm curious, I sort of have two ways to ask this, I guess. I want to just hear if you had any tips for new realtors, but the different way to ask it is, if you, knowing what you know today, if you could turn back time and start over, you're a brand new realtor again, but with today's knowledge, what would you do differently?
The big deal for me would be education up front.
Okay.
So not only, I would probably go after my GRI, the Graduate from the Realtor Institute.
Okay.
I would go after that sooner versus later. I think I did it my 5th year. And back then it was a little bit different process to get it. We had to go out of town to get it.
Uh-huh.
It was more testing, etc. But the GRI, once I had that under my belt, it just promoted me. I mean, my business just went to town. It really did, getting the GRI, because it made me more comfortable with the contracts, with clients. I had something other agents didn't.
So the change from that was really within you, though, right? I mean, the public doesn't necessarily know what a GRI is, but
Correct.
You knew more how to get business, how to get
It made
clients.
me better.
Okay.
It did. It really did. And then after that, I went after the CRS, the Certified Residential Specialist.
You do have a lot of letters behind your name. Okay.
I've got the CRS, I've got the GRI, I've got the ABR, Accredited Buyer.
Okay.
SRES, the Seniors Designation.
Okay.
I've got the Short Sale Designation.
Do you have to have like extra long business cards? Do you put that all
Exactly.
on?
But I just went after the education factor, because it's been proven that when you do have a designation, you make more money.
Okay.
That's a statistical fact, and they have it.
Okay, so have you always kept a big database? Do you have a database of all your past clients and all that type of thing?
I do, and but actually I weed it out. I really do. I do it to about 400 people.
Wow, that's still a lot of people.
And I know them. I mean, and they know me. They get mailings from me, etc. But do I keep every single person I ever have? No. If I hug you, if I feel a rapport with you, those are the ones that I keep in my database.
Okay, so if you're not getting a letter from Janet, she needs a hug.
Exactly.
Right? Come on in, give her hug. And back then you said that you were doing door knocking and that type of thing.
I did it all.
Would you say that's still what a new realtor today should do, or what would you do differently if you were a new realtor today?
I think they really have to toot their horn. They need to send out the cards, handwritten notes.
Okay.
They need to do that, a point of difference. They need to not focus on their family. If you count on your family to send you referrals, you're very lucky and fortunate if your family does that.
Yeah.
So you need to hold the open houses. You need to volunteer to do work for other agents. It's almost like an internship, but not quite.
Right.
You just tell another agent, I'll help you with this, I'll do this for you, I'll hold open houses. And if you sit next to them, you'll learn. I kept a notebook. I wrote down everything. I went into the office. I didn't know what contingent contracts were. I didn't understand them. I mean, I had my license, but did I understand them and how people could explain it well enough? And I would hear different agents explaining it, and I'd be writing it down.
Okay.
And then I'd go home and I'd read it and say it out loud so I could explain it well.
That's good. Okay.
That was me, little nerdy, my little book.
And now do you use an assistant?
I've had assistants. I don't have an assistant right now.
Okay.
I've had 3 assistants in the years.
Let's just talk about the market. I think as you're in your position at S.L.A.R, you probably have to give other interviews to the news and stuff like that sometimes. I'm guessing they ask about, tell us about the market. Is it buyers or sellers market and stuff like that? Can you give me kind of like your quick news spiel type of thing?
From the details that I have from August,
okay,
The stats that I have, August was the slowest closing month nationally that NAR has seen in 6 to 8 months.
Wow, okay.
So it was a slow closing month.
Okay.
Here in St. Louis, I haven't seen the stats for that as of yet.
Okay.
To me, my own business, it feels a little slower. There's just not as many listings out there.
Right, absolutely.
And the sellers are afraid to put their houses on the market because there isn't another home that they may want to go to. They're going to sell their house, but the house they want may not be available right now.
So it's a seller's market.
It still is.
Right, okay.
It still is.
I know some realtors that I talked to. I was at a golf tournament a few weeks ago, and, hey, Adam, how's business going? I'm like, things are great. Things are good. I'm busy, And then, how is your business? And I ask a realtor how their business is. And some of them were like, well, listings are up 10%. Buyers are down 4%. They knew all their percentages. It sounds like you're not a big percentage person like I'm not.
I'm not.
It's kind of more like, let's get the deals done. And
just get it done. For me, it's about, I know what income I need and like to make. And that's what it's all about.
Right.
And if God is good, I get to make that. If it doesn't work out, that's okay.
Right. Okay. I noticed being on the board that we have a lot of people who have been in the business a long time. You've said you've been in the business 30 years. What is it about real estate that makes people stay in it so long? I always say that kind of real estate sort of gets in your blood, but what's so addictive about it or attractive about this career?
It's the entrepreneurial part of it, that fact that you're in control. That you don't have to be somewhere at a certain amount of time, at a certain time. Like if you told me I had to be somewhere every day at 9 o'clock, I'd get fired. It just doesn't work.
Right.
And so for me, it's being in charge of my livelihood. And it's not that I take a lot of vacations or anything like that, but if I have to, like last year, I had to have 2 knee surgeries when I fell off my motorcycle.
Yeah.
2 knee surgeries, and then I tore a tendon from my bicep moving a table in a hotel room. I mean, I could have lost my job over something like that.
Right.
So for me, it was like, this is a great vocation. The harder you work, the more you make. My mentor, Mary Ellen McWilliams, she used to say, the more you play, the less you make. That's a given. I mean, it sounds really obvious.
Right.
But when you start to play hooky, you go, uh-oh, I'm going to make less.
Right.
Yeah.
It's like 30 days from now, I'm going to be mad at myself for not having a deal today.
Exactly. So it's just holding yourself accountable, being disciplined, making the phone calls you need and just giving people the best service you can give them. And then once you're part of their family, like right now I'm working with kids. They were kids when I sold the home to their parents.
Wow.
And now they're growing up, they're in their 20s and they're calling me.
That's beautiful.
It's awesome.
Tell me a little bit about what's going on at S.L.A.R. There seems like there's events all the time. We have a new C.E.O., right? How did that search go? Who is it? Can you tell me a little bit about him? Because there's probably some realtors listening today.
The new CEO at S.L.A.R, his name is John Gormley.
Okay.
He's a senior VP. We got him from the Association of Texas. And
okay.
Texas
is that Austin?
Texas Association of Realtors.
Okay.
So we call them TAR.
That's right. Okay.
Yep. And he's a senior VP there in charge of communications and marketing. He has all of the designations that CEOs could possibly have. He has the budget that he managed there was $2.5 million, and he had 18 employees, which is just like a simultaneous lateral move to S.L.A.R. And just a good fit. So this week is his 3rd week. End of September was the beginning of his 3rd week. We just had our first strategic planning session with him all day yesterday.
Right.
And it went very, very well. So I'm looking forward to his leadership at S.L.A.R for a long time.
Good. Okay. I'm excited. I haven't met him yet. I guess I'll meet him at the
Tomorrow.
board meeting tomorrow.
I'm
going to jump into my 5 questions. All right. And you mentioned already kind of the answer to one of them, but that's a foreshadowing here. But so first question, who lives under your roof?
My husband. We're empty nesters.
Okay.
And my daughter has my dog.
She does?
Yeah, so my dog is gone, Daisy.
No. How do you let that happen?
I know. So I still wake up thinking I've got to let her out, and I've got a 75-gallon fish tank full of fish, salt water.
Oh, wow.
That's it.
Okay. And you had a son. I guess he doesn't live. We're not mentioning everyone, all your kids and everything. Cause
I just have 2. My daughter's 24 and my son's 34.
Okay. Yep. I went to school with them.
I know. Chaminade. Yay.
Mizzou.
Mizzou.
No. I was a
okay.
guy,
all right.
No,
I didn't know that.
I'm not a Chaminade guy. I went to Mizzou.
I forget. It was college. All right. So, yep.
That's right. Where are you your best?
I'm my best when I'm with my family. when I'm happy and relaxed and my family's all together. That's when I'm at my best. That's when I feel blessed.
That reminded me of the question I was going to ask you earlier. Mm-hmm. So if you don't mind, I'm just going to jump back into question session real quick. I think that something that a lot of realtors kind of need to learn about is how to have a balanced life, right? Instead of all work and no play, or all play and no work. You know, that seems like a lot of people are one or the other. How did you figure out how to have a balanced life?
I have to admit that, I did Platinum Club with RE/MAX 3 years in a row. So that's
for an award they get for top sales or something?
Correct, right. Okay. And when I was with Gundaker, I was in their top 50 all of those years. Wow. So I'm not going to say I always had a balanced life. My goal was to take care of my family. I was the primary income. My husband ended up retiring from the police department. He hurt his back. Oh, wow. And he wasn't on duty. So we couldn't collect on that. Right. So I became the primary income. He went back to school and he took care of Nikki, took care of getting her to school. The horseback riding lesson. We had horses. So it was there was a lot of money going out when that happened. So I had to make it. So was there a lot of balance then? No. But we always had dinner together. That was our thing. So even if I came home at 8:30 at night, that's when we had dinner together. Okay. And the kids know that I loved them. I was there. I cleaned. I didn't have a housekeeping service. I cleaned, still cooked, all that stuff for them, but we ate late. Okay. Okay. So that was our balance. Rick took her to the horse shows. Rick took her to school, that kind of stuff.
But now you have it. I guess it's not that you've ever figured out the balance thing. It's just that now you're able to have more balance.
Now we definitely have more balance. You know, the kids are grown. Things are a little slower. I don't have to make that kind of money that I did. Financially, we're okay. God is good. Real estate was good to me. Okay, good. So that's the major point of difference. The balance was just telling people, being real upfront with them and saying, I'm busy right now. Can we do this then? And then I would tell my clients, I can't do that right now. I haven't been to a soccer game in 2 weeks. I have to go to this soccer game. And they would understand.
Some realtors will cancel their birthday or cancel their mom's birthday or Thanksgiving to go show properties.
Nope, not going to happen. You know what happened? That's a great, can I share this story with you?
Sure, please, yeah.
This is what changed my world for me as far as canceling appointments and all of that. I had a client, no names, no anything. Sure. And he was a pastor and from a church here in St. Louis. Okay. Not one that I went to. So he was a referral. Okay. I sold their house and it sold relatively quickly. This was years ago and it sold relatively quickly. So we had to get out and find them a house. And I'll never forget, he was in the front seat. His wife was in the back seat and we're talking about trying to find them a house and all that. And it was Mother's Day. I was out showing them property on Mother's Day. And I'll never forget, she came up got it right in my ear, like right in between the seats, and said, you must really need the money if you're showing us property on Mother's Day.
Oh, my gosh. Don't make me cry. So what did you say? Or what did you think?
And I said, you really need a house. That's why I'm showing you property. Yeah. That changed my life. Uh-huh. Because if the pastor's wife couldn't appreciate me showing her property on Mother's Day, who else would? Right. And after that, that's when it changed. And I never did that again.
She was thinking like you were almost being more selfish, like you were just there for the money, not like, I'm here to help you guys out, which is kind of what your perspective was.
Exactly. And that's something that, I want agents to toot their horns. When they're doing something for a seller or a buyer, you need to tell them. Uh-huh. Because the good agents, we make it look easy. Right. And they don't appreciate it. Uh-huh. So you need to tell them, this is what I just sent the inspection notice to the other agent. I'm waiting on a response back for this. Let them know what you're doing. Right. Otherwise, it's like a surgeon. We don't appreciate how good they are. All we see is a scar and that we're recovering. You need to tell them what you're doing.
I agree with you. When we work with a client, when we're working with a client, I always try to tell them that at the end of this, you're going to be a real estate expert because education is really important to me, and I like to include them in on everything and let them know why we're doing stuff. And exactly. More for them to have the knowledge and comfort, right?
And trust.
And I don't want them to just be like, hey, you just signed the paperwork, I'll let you know when you need it, but because I think they should know what's going on.
Exactly. It's a friendship, a trust, a consultant, and everything, but that's what changed my world.
That's a good story. Mm-hmm. And I hope that realtors that are listening hear that because I think there are realtors who will go out showing properties on Mother's Day and they think that their clients will be mad at them, I guess, if they don't. The only thing I can think about is, what if you then had a second client that wanted to see homes that day? What would you tell them? You would say, sorry, I can't. I'm busy, you know? And so I'm like, why couldn't you have said that same thing to the first one, you know? So you answered where you're your best. At home, playing with your fish.
My family, riding my motorcycle.
Riding your motorcycle.
Love that. That's better than therapy.
Now you wear a helmet, right?
Oh, I got a helmet. I got gear. I got everything.
Okay, good.
It's an off-road GS.
For all the motorcycle listeners, I'm a scooter guy, but don't make fun of me. When a motorcycle goes by, I like to honk at you and be like, hey, act like I'm part of the club. Do you read blogs or do you listen to other podcasts? Do you have a favorite?
I've tuned into yours, so I've listened to several of those. I really haven't listened to podcasts before.
Okay.
So you expanded my horizons on that. So in the last month, that's how I've learned. You know, I'll listen to things on videos from Inman News.
Okay.
Boom Boom, other places like that.
Was there a kind of a book that you remember that had an impact on you or helped you with your business or anything along the way?
What's that Millionaire book?
Yeah, the Millionaire Real Estate Agent?
That's the one.
Okay.
I have that. It's highlighted, bent, been
People
carried
love that
around.
book.
Yep.
What is your guilty pleasure?
Wine.
You know, I knew that I should have had wine for you.
Wine. For me, it's if I don't have an appointment on a Saturday morning, then I can have wine on that Friday night. Or I'll have wine with my son and my husband on Sunday dinner, but I can only have 2 glasses because if I have to get up early on Monday, that's my guilty pleasure. I'm going, how many days till wine and chocolate?
Red or white?
White, Chardonnay.
Really?
I'm a Chardonnay
That's
girl.
what my girlfriend likes, Chardonnay. Do you like really good ones or do you?
I can drink any. That sounds horrible. But
She buys, it's called cul-de-sac. She gets it from the gas station.
Yeah.
It's like $3. She loves it more than more expensive ones. And last question, and you already sort of answered this one, but who is your mentor and how have you thanked them?
Well, she's passed away, but her name was Mary Ellen McWilliams.
Okay.
She was the smartest person I ever met.
She was a realtor.
She was a realtor, and she smoked and had a raspy voice and didn't like fools very well, and I feel very fortunate that she put up with me.
Okay.
And to this day, I take care of her husband. He's in assisted living, so I go see Jim. I don't know, they're just good people, still love her, and it's been about 2 years since she passed away, but I could just run anything past her.
That's nice of you to still kind of take care of her husband and show respect to her family in that way, I guess.
Go back 30 years, yeah. She was there with me from the beginning.
Okay, anything else you want to say before we wrap it up? I know you're busy.
Thank you for letting me come here. Thank you for serving at S.L.A.R.
Oh, thank you.
It's a big responsibility. We make decisions for our membership. We have 7,500 members at S.L.A.R, so we are the largest association in the state of Missouri. It's a big deal when St. Louis does something. I want to encourage people to get involved at S.L.A.R, apply for committees, go to our website and apply, and then after that, go to the Missouri Association of Realtors. That's a wonderful way to increase your business. I get referrals from friends there.
Oh, wow, okay.
I joined the Leadership Academy. That's something you should consider joining at some point.
Yes, I've heard that.
You know, at first it's so awkward because of exercise building, things they do, team building, and it feels like so hokey. But by the end of the year, you are friends and you are family. And the leadership skills that you learn, you might learn that person here, they're not very social, but you'll learn to appreciate the other skills that they have instead of them just writing them off. And it just helped me. It transformed it, and it helped my business because I'm better with my sellers, I'm better with my buyers, I'm a better person.
Well, I would second about getting involved at S.L.A.R because it's amazing for me. It gives me confidence. You know, if I have to talk to another broker or something like that, a lot of other brokers or realtors will throw out stuff like, well, I'm on the grievance committee, so this, it's like, well, so was I,
Wear your name tag and wear your pins. Remember those pins I gave you guys for the installation?
Yeah.
That's your board of director pin.
Okay.
Wear that when you were in a suit. Wear that because that's something you should wear with pride.
Beautiful. All right.
You can cut that out if you want.
No, that's great. Thank you very much for being here.
Thank you, Adam.
We appreciate you. And that's it. We'll talk to you next time. I'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you.